Okay, so me and Mr. Raikkonen and Mr. Kripe and Mrs. Kripe, we went to scout Whitco and West Noble the other night. And we're sitting there, it's like around the first quarter, and Mrs. Kripe goes, "Hey, check that guy out." So I look over, and there's a guy sitting in the bleachers. He's got like a shirt on, buttoned up, with his name stitched across the breast pocket. So I'm going, okay, this guy's he's like a mechanic or something. And I look over, he's bald except maybe like 4 or 5 wisps of hair sticking up the back of his head, and they're just kind of waving. So I look over at him, and he looks right at me and makes eye contact and puts his hands over his mouth and just goes, "Nyah!" So I'm like, what in the world is this guy doing? So I look back over at Mrs. Kripe, and I don't want to look at him, but it's like a train wreck. You have to keep looking at this guy because I want to see what he's going to do next. So every time I look at him, he's making eye contact and just cackling at me, just giggling. So second quarter rolls around, so I look at Raikkonen and I go, "Hey, Big Bird, you got to check this out. This looks like you got to look at this guy." All right. So he turns around and looks, and I'm not looking at the guy. I'm watching the game, and Raikkonen's in front of me. And he just looks back at me, and I hear, "Ah!" And Raikkonen looks back at me, and he looks terrified. He said, "What is that guy?" I don't know. So it's like I transferred my obsession with this creepy little man to Raikkonen because then he couldn't stop looking. Every time Raikkonen looked back, all that I heard was, "Ah!" And then he would turn around like he was going to run out of the building. So halftime rolls around. Raikkonen gets up on the other and walks on the other side of Mr. Kripe. And he goes, "I got to put some distance between myself and that guy. I do not want to be around him. I'm terrified of that man. Keeler, you have to walk me out to my car in the middle of after the game. I can't be around him. I'm afraid he's going to come get me." So, all right, that's fine. I'll walk you out to your car. So it continues, and he keeps looking back at him. And then around the beginning of the fourth quarter, he just looks at that guy, and his face just lights up. Like he just came down for Christmas. Came downstairs and saw all his Christmas presents underneath the Christmas tree as like a 5-year-old child. And I turn around and look at the guy, and he's flapping his arms, standing up like a bird, and just going, "Ah!" So I turn around, and I'm laughing, but Raikkonen said that wasn't even the best part. Before that, he was flapping around, spinning, and pecking at the bleachers like he was a bird looking for a worm. So at this point, we don't know whether to laugh or be terrified. And we just kind of sit there and keep looking over at him every couple of minutes until 2 minutes left. We knew the game was over. We had seen everything we had to see, and we go to walk out of the bleachers. Well, we're on the second level of bleachers. So it's not like East Noble where the steps are on the side. The stairs are behind the bleachers to get down into the main lobby. So we have to walk from the front of the bleachers around the side behind them. He's on the side of the bleachers. So we have to walk right by him. So Raikkonen's first, he's walking out, and he turns around and goes, "Is he looking at us?" "No, he's not looking at you. You're not the center of his universe. You don't matter to everybody. Just keep going." So we keep walking, and we get to the back of the bleachers, and there's a piece of wood, no wood, there's an opening. Piece of wood, no wood, there's an opening. And he goes, "Is he looking at us?" And I go, "No, he's not paying any attention to you. Just go." And then he looks at me, and he goes, "You sure?" And I went, "Yeah." And I turned around and looked, and in one of the parts of the bleachers where there's no wood, there's just one eye staring at both of us. So he was on his hands and knees looking through the bleachers at us, and I looked at Raikkonen and just went, "Well, get out of here!" And we both ran down the steps into the lobby and kept running until we ran out of the building. So that was two 25, 24-year-old teachers running around West Noble, terrified of a 5'4", 100-pound man. And then we got out to the lobby, we got out to the parking lot, we got out to our cars, and we peeled out of there and got out of the parking lot. I'm following Raikkonen home, and he calls me, and he goes, "I'm terrified of that guy. I'm afraid he's going to run out of the woods and just jump on the front of my car." So I told him, he's not going to jump on the front of your car. If anything, you're going to look in the rearview mirror to see if I'm still behind you, and you're just going to see his eyes staring back at you. And then next thing I know, Raikkonen's car just swerves into the other lane. And I go, "What happened?" He goes, "You see me swerve?" "Yeah." That was me checking the back seat with my hands for that man. And that was I don't even know what.